When the final bell rang, the crowd erupted, not in celebration, but in confusion. A draw? The boxing world demanded clarity. Now, legends weigh in on the impending rematch between Gervonta "Tank" Davis and Lamont Roach.
And a sold-out crowd here in BK awaiting the arrival.
Okay, gentlemen, you're both receiving instructions in the dressing room. I want you to obey the command to protect yourselves at all times.
There's Davis lands it.
How nasty was the speed of that counter shot? It was like a shovel uppercut coming back from Tank.
The 9th round. Gervonta Davis, eyes glazed, drops to a knee.
Off some of the steam of the punch, but still, Roach leaned with right.
He took a knee.
He took a knee.
Roach eating some big shots and coming right back.
A minute and a half left.
For a fighter known for finishing opponents, not flinching, the moment felt impossible. But there he was, taking a knee. And in that instant, everything changed. Fans gasped, commentators froze. The illusion of invincibility shattered. The fight continued, but the narrative had already shifted. Roach, calm and collected, closed strong. Davis, uncharacteristically cautious, coasted. When the final bell rang, no one knew what to expect. And then it came, a majority draw. No winner, no closure, only controversy.
Down!
114 to 114, even a draw. The decision is a majority draw.
Now, with the rematch looming, one question remains. Who really owns this rivalry? March 1st, 2025. The lights inside T-Mobile Arena burned brighter than usual. Gervonta Davis entered to roaring chants, flanked by a belt-heavy entourage, his knockout reputation preceding him like a shadow. Across the ring, Lamont Roach Jr. looked calm, maybe too calm for someone who just stepped into the fire. The odds? Almost laughable. Davis was a 7-1 favorite. But then again, boxing has always made fools out of foregone conclusions. The early rounds were close. Davis stalked forward, loading up, looking for that one shot. But Roach, slippery and focused, never gave it to him. He circled, jabbed, clinched, and escaped. Judges had to pick between flash and finesse, power and precision. Tank's punches were heavier, sure, but Roach? Roach landed more. Round after round, the gap didn't widen. It shrank. By round 7, the crowd had shifted. The cheers were now mixed with murmurs. Round 8, Davis pushed harder, Roach countered cleaner.
Success here for Roach in round 7. Oh, and a right hand by Roach. Another right.
Yeah. Changes.
And yet only landing him by 3. Thus backed up with a counter right from Roach.
And boom. He counterpunched.
Then came round 9.
Oh, and that right, but Davis took off some of the steam of the punch, but still, Roach leaned with right.
He took a knee.
He took a knee.
That single act, Tank dropping to a knee without a punch visibly landing, was the moment the fight spun into controversy. Was it a delayed reaction to a body shot? Was it exhaustion? Slippery footing? According to Davis, he had hair grease in his eyes, but for millions watching, it looked like the champ was hurt. Badly.
My eyes was burning. And you know, like, you can get knocked out like that. So I'd rather take the knee than, you know. But I didn't really know that you can, like, get disqualified for all that. Or, like, when you start counting, I'm like, what the hell? But I don't know.
Round 10 saw Davis rally. Roach, sensing blood, pressed on but didn't finish. The final bell rang with both men still standing, and no one sure who had won. Then the scorecards came in. 114-114, 115-113 Roach, 114-114, a majority draw, no winner, no closure. The backlash was immediate. Terrence Crawford went on record saying he had Roach ahead. Joe Rogan didn't hold back, saying flatly, Roach won that fight. Analysts slowed down the 9th round footage frame by frame. Fans launched polls. Fighters chimed in. One side argued Davis had the cleaner shots and controlled more rounds. The other side pointed to Roach's volume, ring generalship, and that unforgettable knee. More than just numbers, this was about optics. And optics matter in boxing. Davis, a knockout artist, had looked mortal. Roach, the underdog, had looked composed. Whether or not the decision was a robbery depended on who you asked, but everyone agreed on one thing: the rematch had to happen. And so, the story didn't end. It only paused, waiting for August, where the final chapter would be written in leather and legacy. The dust hadn't even settled on the first fight when demands for a rematch started echoing across the sport. Pundits called it unfinished business. Fans called it robbery. Promoters called it a gold mine. Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach II wasn't just expected, it was required. One way or another, they had to settle it in the ring. On April 12, 2025, the rematch was made official. Same city, same venue, same stakes, but a completely different energy. August 16th, Las Vegas. No warm-up fights, no interim belts, just two men with a score to settle and a sport watching closely. The announcement came with fire, press quotes, social media eruptions, face-off photos. But beneath the marketing, there was something real, an unspoken understanding between two fighters who knew they had unfinished business.
I think the hardest punch I ever faced, no. And I ain't shitting on him or nothing like that, he can punch. But Jonathan Oquendo, he's from Puerto Rico. Bro, he got bricks in his hands, bro. I lie to you not.
The build-up to this rematch feels different. In the first fight, Roach was the unknown, the quiet technician with little hype and less respect. This time, he's walking in with headlines on his back. Davis, once seen as an unstoppable knockout machine, now walks in with questions trailing him. Is he slipping? Was that knee a sign of vulnerability? Or was it just a fluke in an otherwise dominant run? For Davis, it's not just about the belt. It's about control, about shutting down every critic who said Roach exposed him. For Roach, this is the moment to turn almost into absolute, to finish what he started. This isn't marketing hype. This is war on schedule. When the biggest names in boxing start weighing in, it means the rematch isn't just hype, it's a crossroads. And this one has split the legends right down the middle. Some see Davis rebounding in violent fashion. Others believe Roach has already cracked the code and is about to finish the job. Either way, when Roy Jones Jr., Terrence Crawford, Tony Bellew, and Shakur Stevenson start talking, the boxing world listens. Roy Jones Jr. was one of the first to speak out. Tank made mistakes, he said bluntly. He gave up rounds, took his foot off the gas, but now he knows Roach is for real. The second time around, I think he dominates. Coming from one of the most gifted fighters in history, a man who lived off adjustments and rematches, that kind of statement hits hard.
Tank will come with a different attitude, different personality, different motivation, and I think Roach will do good again, but I think Tank will be more dominant this time.
But not everyone agrees. Shakur Stevenson, arguably one of the most technically gifted fighters of his generation, he offered a more cautious view. In a recent interview, he remarked, "I like Lamont in the rematch." For Stevenson, it's not about brute force, it's about discipline. And in his eyes, Davis has the skills but sometimes lacks the urgency.
I like Lamont in the rematch.
You were one of the few that kind of picked Lamont to begin with. Why was that?
I sparred with Lamont. I knew that he was a good fighter. He helped me get ready for the Oscar Valdez fight. And I knew his style with Tank's style, what he was going to be able to bring to the table. I knew it.
Tony Bellew, always blunt and rarely diplomatic, didn't sugarcoat it. Tank's gonna batter him this time, he said in a live interview. Tank does him. Tank figures it out. Tank's one of the best thinking fighters in the world. He's exceptional. He's really good. But I think the thing with Tank is, he's in his own head, and he lets the outside noise affect him. Bellew's take is simple. The first fight was an anomaly. Davis, distracted or complacent, never got into gear. This time, with pressure on and narrative against him, he'll return with bad intentions. Beyond the headlines and interviews, there's a deeper truth. Legacy fighters don't comment unless they sense something significant. They've all been there, under the lights, feeling pressure like a second skin. What they saw in Davis that night wasn't just an off night. It was something crackable. A blueprint, maybe. Roach might not have the raw power or highlight reels that Tank brings, but he's got the one trait that every great fighter fears: rhythm. And rhythm, once established, is hard to interrupt. Some believe Davis was flat due to weight issues or a lack of respect for his opponent. Others think Roach is just that good and nobody noticed until it was too late. The boxing world is full of selective memory. One bad night, and a fighter becomes a has-been. One good night, and he's the next big thing. That's what makes these predictions matter. They shape the narrative long before the bell even rings. The legends are watching because this isn't just a rematch, it's a recalibration of status, a test of whether Davis is still that monster the division fears, or if Roach is now the man to beat. In boxing, the fighter gets the spotlight. But behind every punch, every feint, every round won or lost is a voice in the corner. And in this rematch, that voice matters more than ever. For Gervonta Davis, that voice belongs to Calvin Ford, a man who's guided Tank from Baltimore gyms to world titles. But after the draw with Roach, Ford's been under the microscope. Critics questioned the game plan, said the corner lacked urgency. In the rematch, Ford's demeanor has shifted, more vocal, more visible. In training footage, he's pacing behind Davis like a general before battle, barking adjustments, drilling ring control. There's no laughter, no looseness, just business. Roach's corner, by contrast, has stayed icy calm, focused on volume, pace, and discipline. They know they don't need a knockout to win. They just need a repeat performance without hesitation. Reports say they're drilling 15-round stamina routines, focusing on forcing Davis into deep waters early. They've also brought in southpaw sparring partners with Tank's frame, preparing Roach for both fire and footwork.
In training camp, ready for one of the biggest rematches in 2020.
Training footage, split screen, Calvin Ford correcting Davis's stance mid-drill, Roach's corner wiping sweat off his face between intense mid-rounds. Overlay, no second chances this time. This isn't just a rematch between fighters, it's a chess match between minds. And in boxing, the wrong word in the wrong round can cost everything. Both corners know that. They're sharpening not just tools, but instincts. Because come August 16th, between each bell and breath, those voices will echo loudest. For all the talk, all the predictions, all the press conference heat, the truth is, boxing always comes down to tactics. And in the first fight, Lamont Roach brought a game plan that, while not explosive, was effective. He didn't try to brawl. He didn't look for the highlight knockout. He boxed smart, moved well, and most importantly, he made Davis miss. A lot. From the opening bell, Roach used lateral movement to stay just outside Davis's power zone. He didn't let himself get backed up to the ropes. Instead, he pivoted off angles, forced Davis to reset, and slipped in scoring shots when Davis paused to think. The most telling stat? Roach had a higher connect percentage on jabs and body shots, neutralizing Davis's usual volume of power punches. Davis, known for his explosive bursts and mid-fight knockouts, seemed frustrated. He chased more than cut off the ring. He waited instead of pressing. And when the pressure came back in round 9, he took a knee. A moment that may have been strategic, or a sign that Roach's bodywork was having a real effect.
See Tank Davis begin to...
It's always about that foot placement.
Yes, of course. Orthodox and southpaw, lead foot dominance. And you're right, that could definitely play a part here. Right now,
But Davis didn't lose his weapons. He just didn't fire them at full capacity. His signature uppercut, the left cross, the body hook combinations, they appeared, but not with the same frequency. Whether that was conditioning, timing, or respect for Roach's counters, we don't know. But if Davis wants to silence every doubt in the rematch, it starts with pressure. Smart, calculated pressure, not wild hunting. Expect Davis to open faster in the second fight. Expect fewer pauses, more jabs, more cutting off the ring instead of following Roach. And above all, a clear intention to break Roach early and remove judges from the equation entirely. Davis has never been known for high punch volume, but when he's efficient, he's lethal. The key will be not just landing hard shots, but making Roach feel unsafe, minute by minute. Roach, on the other hand, knows exactly what worked. He's not going to suddenly trade in the pocket. He's going to move, frustrate, and steal rounds. Expect more body shots, more clinches, more footwork to drag the fight into the later rounds where Davis has shown signs of fading. He'll look to recreate that round 9 moment, but this time, make it count on the scorecards. It's power versus poise, 1 punch versus 12 touches. Roach isn't flashy, but he's difficult. And difficult styles break rhythm, break confidence. They make even the best fighters second guess. If Roach can once again make Davis think more than he reacts, he wins the tactical war. But if Davis cuts through the noise, walks Roach down, and fights like the hunter he was built to be, he ends it early. This fight won't be decided by who's stronger. It will be decided by who learns more from the first encounter and applies it under pressure. Adjustments win rematches, and both corners know that better than anyone. Every rematch has consequences, but this one, it's career-defining. For Gervonta Davis, a second fight with Lamont Roach isn't just about defending a belt. It's about restoring fear, about reminding everyone why his name sends opponents into survival mode. If he wins convincingly, the controversy vanishes. The 9th round knee becomes an afterthought. But if he loses, especially decisively, everything changes. Davis has built his legacy on highlight knockouts and unbeaten swagger. He's the guy other champions avoid. But the first Roach fight fractured that aura. Suddenly, people are asking questions. Is he slowing down? Is he losing focus? Was he exposed? Another lackluster performance won't just hurt his ranking, it will shake his value. Sponsors, pay-per-view numbers, future matchups with guys like Shakur Stevenson or Devin Haney. It all hinges on what happens in August. Roach, meanwhile, walks into this fight with nothing to lose and everything to gain. A victory puts him in elite company overnight. He becomes the man who humbled Gervonta Davis, not once, but twice. A win would catapult him into superstardom, title unifications, bigger purses, and instant respect. He's no longer a technician under the radar. He becomes a main event staple.
I'm trying to get this money right to see if we can run this back.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I ain't get the job done. I gotta complete the mission. Straight up. So, I mean, that's what we in it for.
Yeah.
That's what we in it for.
For both fighters, this isn't just about belts, it's about identity. For Tank, it's about proving he's still the man to beat. For Roach, it's about taking what should have been his the first time. The ring on August 16th won't just be a battleground, it'll be a proving ground. If the first fight sparked debate, the rematch has ignited a full-blown divide. Boxing forums are on fire. Twitter timelines split down the middle. Pundits, fans, even former fighters, they're all picking sides. And unlike most mismatches that flood pay-per-view calendars, this one feels real. Because this time, nobody knows what to expect. The betting markets opened with Davis as the slight favorite. But not by much, a steep drop from the massive gap seen before their first encounter. That says something. Vegas odds makers don't operate on feelings, they operate on risk. And right now they see Roach as a legitimate threat. Fan polls on ESPN, Boxing Scene, and Reddit tell a similar story, a near 50-50 split. One side believes Tank's going to return with vengeance. The other believes Roach exposed the blueprint, and this time he won't let Tank off the hook. Then there's the media. Outlets like DAZN and The Ring magazine have analysts breaking down the rematch frame by frame. One side emphasizes Davis's power, his ability to end things with one shot. The other highlights Roach's IQ, footwork, and consistency. No one's brushing this off as a fluke anymore. This isn't just a fight people are watching, it's a fight people are investing in. Emotionally, financially, personally. Because boxing fans remember moments like this, moments when a star risks falling and an underdog reaches for history. It's not hype, it's tension. And right now, everyone's holding their breath, waiting to see who gets the last word. Every now and then, boxing gives us a rematch that matters. Not because of a title, not because of a rivalry, but because it forces a reckoning. Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach II is one of those fights. It's not just about who wins, it's about what that win means. If Davis comes out and dominates, the storm passes. The draw fades into the rear view, and Tank reclaims his narrative as the boogeyman of the division. The highlight reel knockouts, the aura of danger, it all returns louder than before. But if Roach walks away with the win, he becomes the man who reset the landscape, the guy who made boxing fans see Davis not as a monster, but as a man. For all the expert takes, for all the highlight reels, this fight might come down to two things: adjustments and ego. Who learned more? Who's more prepared to break the pattern? And who's willing to risk everything to take control of the story? One of these men will leave the ring with their legacy intact, elevated, possibly immortalized. The other will leave with questions trailing him louder than ever. No more theories, no more controversy. On August 16th, we get the truth, one punch, one round, one night at a time.